Good afternoon to all. On behalf of GSS Jain College for Women, I, Yashita Jain from 3rd BSc Computer Science, feel immensely pleasure to host today's webinar on water wastewater management jointly organized by Water Management Program Cell and Enviro Club of GSS JC. I extend a warm welcome to everyone watching. Prayer is the opening of the heart to God as your friend. Kindly get ready for the prayer. Now, may I request Dr. P. Carmugil ma'am,
of
Coordinator of
Water
Water
Management
Management
Program
Program
Cell
Cell,
to
to
give
give
the
the
welcome
welcome
address
address
and
and
to
to
introduce
introduce
our
our
today's
today's
resource
resource
person.
person.
Please,
Please,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, all. This is a proud moment to receive our chief guest and the guest of honor, Dr. Professor G. Bhaskaran, sir, for this wonderful event and useful event for the future generation also. First of all, I would like to thank our management and the principal, Madam Dr. M.K. Malati, to give a constant support for this event like this. And it is my honor to welcome our chief guest, Dr. G. Bhaskaran, sir, in this occasion. I'm feeling proud to give the welcome address for this, sir, because I'm too young to give all those things and prepare are conducting all these events uh, like uh, like the guest Dr. G. Bhaskaran, sir. Dr. G. Bhaskaran, sir, is a professor in the Center for Water Resource Management, University of Madras. He has graduated in MSc Geography, MPhil Geography, and Master of Education, and he has completed his doctorate in Faculty of Science. He has a wide range of experience, and he has published 56 publications in Indian and international journals and papers in national and international seminars organized uh, and participated in 40 workshops and seminars. Her area of specialization is geomorphology, watershed management, and remote sensing and image interpretation. And uh, he has published eight number of books, and he has published various journals and publications in various national and international conferences and proceedings. Sir is a member of lifetime member of many national and international uh, committees and programs. So it is my immense pleasure to welcome sir to have this wonderful event and kindly share your knowledge with us, sir. It is very useful for us and also useful for the future generation. Uh, Regarding water management and all those things. Thank you, sir. I'm again once again I welcome you, sir. Please share your knowledge with us, sir. Thank you, sir.
Targeted people ಯಾರಮ್ಮ MSc or BSc?
Ma'am.
Targeted people ಯಾರು இந்த ஒர்க்ஷாப் உடைய participants, our college students or some other college students?
Sir, this is our college students, sir. Um,
ஓகே, என்ன பண்ணணும்? தமிழ்ல பேசணுமா இங்கிலீஷ்ல பேசணுமா?
um, Bilingual, I can speak, sir. English, most of the students are Jain students, sir, here. So English is a sufficient language for us. And if it is okay, bilingual is
Not a
okay.
problem, not a problem. Bilingual, okay, fine.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Whether my screen is visible to you all? Screen is visible?
Screen, yes, sir.
Whether my screen is moving?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir, and it's clear.
Fine. My voice is okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon to all. First of all, I thank the management of GSS college. It is not a new to me. It is a like a family. GSS management is a family to me. I'm the dynamic principal and Carmughil. My best wishes for the participants who are all attending this seminar. This is a wonderful topic what we are going to discuss because the need of the day also, because we are going towards the face the third world war. That is a water war. That is called as a liquid gold. So what is in future, it will be called as a liquid gold because there will be a more scarcity and it is more useful for our day-to-day life. Why we want to discuss about this means uh, we people are not aware about the water. Why means it is freely available. Whatever the resources, whatever the articles freely available, we don't know about the value of the particular articles or the gift, whatever it may be. So water is also a freely available resources, so that we are not having that much of knowledge and that much of value. We are not so far having, so that the problem arises the scarcity and also the water chemical degradations. So that nowadays we are spending more money for taking the water from the nearby areas or some other country. They are taking the water from the North Pole and South Pole. That means the snow. They will be pulling the snow from the North Pole and South Pole. They will be melted the snow and converted into water. Likewise, earlier days, our ancestors, they lift the water from the natural sources of well, running water, that is a river, streams. So no need of taking the water wherever they are going. But now what we are doing, we are getting the water from the shops. Even though when we are moving with the village, rural areas, the water is marketed lavishly. In the small petty shop, we can have the water bottles. After having the water bottles, those water bottle, plastic bottles are thrown here and there. That also leads some degradations, environmental degradations. Why means there is a big demand of water because we are not conserving, we are not taking care about the value of the water. That means we are not valuing the water. This year, the UN also insists us to promote some information among the stakeholders, that means the students, about the valuing the water, visible to invisible. These are all the Taraha Mandram to be disseminated to the student community. They want to learn the value of the water. Then only they will be portraying the water. They will be worshipping the water, and that will be for a longer period, and it will be supporting the future generation. So knowingly, unknowingly, we are not valuing the water so far. But anyhow, through this webinar, we have to value the water for considering the future demand. So that I started with what is a water? What is a water? The water is nothing but like us. It is inorganic, very transparent, tasteless, odorless, colorless, but it is having chemical substance. Two molecule of hydrogen, one molecule of oxygen. So always our ancestors, our well-wishers also wish us like a water. To be, we have to live here like a water. That means then only you can succeed in your life because it is very transparent, tasteless, odorless, colorless, so that though we don't have any disparities. Likewise, we have to live in our air, so we have to comfortably live. We have to enjoy the life. Otherwise, if it is not transparent, if it is not tasteless, if it is having some taste, some smells, then we are not able to comfortable. So that we have to be a water. We have to succeed more. Nowadays, these things are now it is more practiced by us through the anthropogenic activity. We are not allowing the water very transparent. We are not allowing the water to tasteless. We are not allow the water to odorless because the our own anthropogenic activities. Some of the molecules also getting changed. 2%, two molecules of hydrogen and one molecule of oxygen H2O to be. But these things are nowadays it is modified by way of chemical alterations. And this water also available in various forms like ice, gases, water vapor, and liquid water. So these are the various forms of water which is presented in the surface itself, either gaseous or solid ice or liquid or in the form of vapor in different temperature condition. Based on the temperature, the form ice the water will be changing its form into ice, gases, vapor, and liquid. Likewise, it is water is a more flexible and more useful for our day-to-day living itself. And this water also having two properties. One is physical, another one is chemical properties. Those properties will be more helpful for our ecosystem, environmental system. That environmental system consists of several components. Each components required either physical or chemical properties of water, so that the entire earth is sustained by the pure drinkable water, that is not a polluted water. The polluted water, because of our own practices, our own damages to the water, that is H2O. Coming to this, how come the water is, most of the people they are not aware about that how we are getting the water. Wherever I am going there, சம்பவம் ஒரு காலேஜுக்கு போயிருந்தேன், தண்ணி எப்படி கிடைக்குதுப்பா பாட்டிலில் கிடைக்குதுன்றான். He doesn't know about how the water is. The water is also having a cyclic process. That means the rain, the cloud will be bringing the rain. The rain is occurring on the surface. Based on the characteristics of the surface material, some of the water can be infiltrated, excess water can be moved. Moving water can be called as a surface water. Infiltrated water can be called as a groundwater. So the water is presented on the surface, below the surface as a liquid. Then what happened due to the sun energy, the water can be evaporated. The water can be evaporated by the insolation, incoming solar radiation. That water can be evaporated, changing its form into the liquid into gaseous form, evaporation. Then there are vegetation. Vegetation will be taking the water from the root and it is growing. When the sun radiation fallen on the plant will be getting the irradiation and it will be converting the water into moisture as a transpiration. So evaporation from the water sources, transpiration from the vegetable cover, both together can be called as a evapotranspiration. Evaporation, transpiration, these things are gaseous form of water. Then it will be sent to the atmosphere, and in the cloud, the moisture will be condensed, and again it will be fallen on the surface as a rain. Then surface runoff, groundwater, evapotranspiration. Likewise, there is a cyclic process so that the water as a resource, natural resource, it is following a cyclic way and it will be called as a renewable resources. This particular slide will be giving you a clear information about what is the groundwater, what is the surface water. So there is a precipitation occur on the slope of the particular surface. Then some of the water can be moved and it will be stored in the lakes, pond, pool, likewise. That is called as a water storage on the surface. When the water stored here, there will be chance of some amount of water can be leached out into the ground. That is called as a infiltration. Water is infiltrated into the ground. There is a penetration. That penetrated water can form a small medium can be called as a aquifer. Aquifer means a water storage medium below the ground can be called as aquifer system. That only supporting the well, tube well, water that is called as a groundwater. And another one is the evaporation. As you are aware that sun radiation, the water column will be converted into moisture that will be go back to the atmosphere. Transpiration, we discussed about the transpiration. That means the underground water can be taken, soil moisture can be taken by the root and it will be supplied to the stem, and the stem through the leaf it can be evaporated. That is called as a transpiration. Then the sometime the excess water, suppose the soil medium is not allowing to further move below, then the excess water can be moved on the surface. That is called as a runoff. That is runoff. Runoff may be called as a surface water. Whatever the water infiltrated, injected into the ground is called as an infiltration. So surface water on the surface, there is a river, streams, and other movement of the canals. Likewise, the infiltration, invisible water below the ground, it is called as a groundwater. Whatever the movement on the surface can be called as a surface water. So there are two different water, liquid water. One is below and above. Above is called as a surface water. Below is called as a groundwater. Then both the hydraulic gradient, the water can be moved and stayed in the artificial structure or natural structure and finally end with the ocean. The ocean will be getting the fresh water, the excess water from the rain, it is stored in the ocean itself. When the river water is moving on the surface, taking some minerals and salt from the surface, enter into the ocean is more exposed to the sun and more on evaporation. So water will be evaporated, salt will be deposited in the ocean so that the ocean water is so salty than the surface water, because the salt content moved from the surface can be reached in the particular medium and continuous evaporation, the water is evaporated, the salt is deposited in the ocean so that ocean water is more salted. But whereas surface water, it is also moving on the surface dynamically so that the more not the more salt available in the surface itself. So this is the general introduction about the water and its movement and its cyclic process supporting supporting the surface for sustainable the various usages. The usages may be domestic, agriculture, and industries. Sometimes it will be a recreational. So these are the sectoral usage of surface or groundwater. One is agriculture, second one is domestic, third one is your industries, fourth one is the recreational. These are the various sectoral usage of both groundwater and surface water. This usages of water will be converting the fresh water, transparent, odorless, tasteless water into some polluted things. We only polluting. When we are using the water for domestic purpose, the waste will be converting the fresh water into the waste. Industries, the processing industries, they will be using the fresh water for processing purposes. Let it out the pollutant into the river channels. Then only the surface water is getting polluted. Likewise. So the underground water also supporting the soil as a moisture, that moisture will be utilized by the vegetable cover on the surface. When the groundwater is deficit, the soil will be dried, no plantation, no vegetable cover will be on the surface. That will be called as a dryness, droughts. So wherever you go, the water will be play a vital role in our own day-to-day life, so that the water to be worshipped by us. But so far we not. Think about the global scenario of the water. Globally, you don't have any data set, so that we are wasting our water daily. Think about that. World water is 100%. World water is 100%. The 100% water, 97% of water is not used so far, because those water are the sea water, more salty water. Among the 100%, 97% of the total global water is not used by us because it is so salted. Only 3% of the water is used by us for our various sectoral usages. Only 3% of water is used by us. That is, among the 33%, 2% of water is totally frozen in the North Pole and South Pole. See that only 3% of the water is the fresh water available on the earth. Among the three, 2% of water is available as a snow in the North Pole and South Pole. My dear young brain, see that only 1% of the water is available for our to day life on the surface as a liquid water, which is available in the lakes, rivers, reservoirs, likewise. So think about that availability of the fresh water for us. Globally, 100%, 97% we are not used because it is so salted. Only 3% of the fresh water is available. Among the three, 2% is available in the North Pole and South Pole as ice sheets, continental glaciers. We are not able to take it. Only 1% of the water is fresh water, which is used by us, that is available in the lakes, rivers, and reservoirs. With the only 1% of water, we are using 69% of for agriculture, 21% industries, 8% for domestic use. These are different sectoral usages of 1% water globally. Agriculture is the main user of water. Next to that, industry. Then only 8% of the water we consumed for our own domestic purpose. This is the global scenario of the water availability. So that we have to take care about the water conservation and water rejuvenation, reactivation practices. Then only the water will be available for the future generation itself. Otherwise, the 1% water is polluted, then nobody can support the water, fresh water to the community and other agriculture and domestic purposes itself. See the global scenario, see that the water stress, the red color is high stressed areas. Globally, India is facing so much of stress in different order. This is the high degree of that stress, and this is the medium degree of stress. But whereas the other countries, developed countries here, Canada and some of the South America, the low stress are observed here. Only the Asia, India, and Europe are the heavy stressed countries. There will be chance of day zero. Day zero means no water will be available for the residents or maybe the people in the particular country itself in future. See that high stress means water availability are converting the water into various usages, and we are polluting lavishly the water by promoting the processing industries, dyeing industries, tanning industries, so that the water is getting polluted. And we are wasting our own water resources, surface water resources, by dumping the municipal waste and diluting our own wastages into the freshwater system itself, so that the problem arises in India. See, various categories of water stress is arised in India. Okay, that is India is a more stressed country. And India, see that more than 100 million people living in the areas of poor water quality. See that the yellow and is a little bit good, and these areas are okay. The South India and middle of the India, more than 100 million people are living in the poor. That is not a drinkable one, poor water quality. Maybe arsenic content more, or maybe some fluoride. Those things are not good for our human health. And 54% of the India faces high to extreme high water stress. See that this northwestern portion of India and southern India is high to extreme high water stress in nowadays. Coming to the India, 85% of usages are for agriculture purposes. 7% is domestic, 5% is industry, 3% is energy. So this is the water usages in India itself. And also South India and Northwestern India is facing acute water stress in due courses. This is the general introduction about the global, how they are facing the problem, and how our India is facing the water problem now. It will be getting aggravated every year. Finally, the day zero will come. Day zero means no single drop water is available for the community. See that this photograph you may be well versed. November 6, 2021. That is Chennai City's experiences heavy rain. We faced 2015 also. This is a heavy rain. Why I'm showing this slide means I want to educate you people to valuing the water. What is the amount of water? See that is a very good trunk road, Mount Road. Instead of bus and car and other vehicular movement, the boats are moving on the road. Most of the people are disturbed. They are unable to move from one end to other end. The entire road is filled with water. See that the old motor system, there is a tricycle came into that transportation thing. And here the train routes, everything is filled. The water is excess in the river system, Adayar, so that the entire riverine areas are getting flooded. See the depth of the water, maybe 3 to 4 feet. And the water is stored in the road, and the people are moving without any fear in the water. They are moving here and there. There is a very risky thing. I am showing this means water is very precious, it is renewable, but that is not available in some seasons. We know that 4 seasons in India and Tamil Nadu also. During the rainy season, we have more water, excess water. That is also affecting our own day to day life. But another way, there may be a scarcity in the summer. We are unable to get a water. We have to pay way more money and spend more time to get a vessel of water. That is a problem. Why? Every citizen in Chennai they doesn't know about the value of water. I will tell you the value of water now. You will be astonishing these statistics. That day, November 6, 2021, 1 TMC water is released. 1 TMC, 1000 million cubic water is released that particular day. ஒரு நாள் அன்னைக்கு ரிலீஸ் ஆன வாட்டர் 1000 million cubic feet வாட்டர். அப்படின்னா எவ்வளவு அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா what is the amount of water means, that is nearly 28,316.85 million liter of water. 1 TMC consists of 28,316.85 million liters of water. 1 TMC. அன்னைக்கு டேட்டுக்கு என்ன பண்ணாங்கன்னா ஒரு டிஎம்சி வாட்டர் திறந்து விட்டாங்கன்னு நியூஸ். தட் மீன்ஸ் இவ்வளோ லிட்டர் ஆஃப் வாட்டர். தட் மீன்ஸ் when you convert the million liter, 2,832 crores of liter, 2,832 crores of water they released. சின்ன கணக்கு. 1 liter of water, average, maybe in the shop, maybe 10 rupees, take 10 rupees. If it is 10 rupees, we are buying the water from the market per liter 10 rupees. அப்படின்னு கணக்கு வச்சுப்போம். 10 rupees water multiplied by 2,830 crores of liter what we wasted on the particular day. அப்படின்னு கணக்கு போட்டா 28,320 crores that we wasted. The water is free of cost by the nature. It is given by the nature. But we wasted 28,300 crores of water we wasted on the particular day. Because we are unaware about the value of the water. நம்ம குடிக்கிறதுக்கு மட்டும் நம்ம 1 liter வாட்டர் கடையிலிருந்து வாங்கி போடுறோம். 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 15 rupees அப்படின்ட்டு. But on the particular day, the fresh water, what it is from the rain, we wasted this much of liter of water, 2,832 crores of water we wasted. When you valuing the water, then that is around 29,000 crores of valued water is wasted by us. Next, not only the town, the rural area also, the water is wasted because the mismanagement of landscape leads to the fully filled with water. Most of the agriculture damages, cattle also disturbed, that residents also disturbed by the water because the water is moving here and there. Why? The channels, water channels are blocked. Water channels are lavishly encroached by the encroachers. We the encroached. Then the natural flow of water is not happened in the particular terrain. So that it will be misleaded by the construction process and it will be go here and there and form inundation and flood. This is the scenario here. So now what we have made 29,000 crores we wasted in the urban area as well as the rural area. Fine. Coming to the next slide. That is in the monsoon period. Now in the summer, April, May, June, what happened in Chennai City? Most of the domestic water is supplied by the transport. எல்லாரும் பார்த்துருப்பீங்க எவ்வளோ கண்டெய்னர்ஸ் இருக்குது பாருங்க, அத்தனை டியூபையும் போட்டு வாட்டரை ஃபெட்ச் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. See that the crowd and vessels, there is only one truck is here. They are supplying the water to the residents. Then the Corporation of Chennai, they announced in their own budget that the entire month of April, May, June, they supplied 1 TMC water to the urban community. அப்படின்னு அர்த்தம், அந்த 3 மாசத்துல 1 TMC of water அவங்க எங்கேயா டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட் பண்ணி அர்பன்ல கொடுத்துருக்காங்க, சென்னை சிட்டி கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. That means, again coming to that, 1 TMC means 22,832 crores liter of water. அப்படின்னு சொன்னா நீங்க மேல பார்த்த கணக்கு தான். 2,000 liter means 28,300 crore. That means 29,000 crores. One way, during the rainy period, we wasted our natural resource worth of 28,300 crores. Similarly, in the summer, we spent from our own pocket nearly the same amount of money, 28,320 crores, for getting the transported water to the community. Think about the value of water. When you save the water during the rainy period, this amount will be saved, but nobody is saved. That is the message I want to give it to you people from the 2 different slides. I think you may be knowing the value of water now. See that another side, if the water is not properly stored in the villages during the rain, there are so much of water is wasted. If it is wasted during the summer, the agriculturist is facing a problem. This is the meteorological drought or agriculture drought. That means the soil is losing its moisture because of the heavy temperature, less amount of water stored in the particular area, so that the soils are cracked out and there is no chance of growth of vegetation, so that there is agriculture drought. When the agriculture drought comes, there is a chance of big demand of uh, agriculture producers in the market. See, indirectly, we have to learn the value of the water now. Why this happened? We only inviting our own headache. சொந்த செலவுல சூன்யம் வச்சுக்கிறது. Water bodies are lavishly converted into urban areas. See that most of the lakes in and around Chennai, or maybe the nearby cities, or maybe some of the Coimbatore, Salem, the mega cities, metropolitan cities, the urban area is more converted the water bodies into urban built up areas. In Chennai, there are 192 lakes are extinct. They are encroached and they converted into urban areas. So that the water crisis, groundwater is crisis. No surface water is infiltrated into the deeper portion because all are concrete jungle. Nothing is infiltrated, so that there is no aquifer, no supply of groundwater to the urban community. So that we are facing acute water scarcity in the city itself. Another one is the pollution that see that most of the plastic, whatever we thrown on the road and here and there, that will be taken by the fluvial system and it will be deposited in the water bodies. See that water bodies. This also creating some problem. While the rain comes, this will be clogging the drainage courses so that inundation and flood is coming to the Chennai city itself. Another one is the water bodies are lavishly encroached by the urban dwellers and the slum dwellers. See that there's a temporary hutments or some of the built up areas are along the river courses and in the lakes itself. And see that there are constructions, utilities, railways, roadways, all are on the water body so that the water body is shrinking, unable to carrying the water in a proper way to the destination. And the water is not a fresh one because of the encroachment. One is the pollution, another one is the encroachment. These two things are producing more on water scarcity on the surface in the urban as well as the rural itself. Coming to the Chennai city. Chennai city, this is the old map of Chennai city. I don't know how many of them are knowing this information. This is the map. These are the very old historical maps. What you are seeing here. இங்க பாருங்க, there is a big tank, long tank, 5 kilometer length, 2 kilometer width, 5 kilometer length, 3 kilometer width. The long tank, இது எங்க சார் இருக்கு? That is in நுங்கம்பாக்கம். இது சேத்பட், இது வந்து நம்ம டி நகர். சேத்பட், டி நகர். Very long tank. Slowly the long tank is converted from 1600 to 1930. The tank is disappeared. There are some names are there in the nearby your Loyola College. Tank Bund Road. That means tank bund road. This is the tank, this is the bund. Above the bund, there is a road. Lake area in Nungambakam. That means it is also lake area. There are some names are there that there is evidence for the longshore tank. Some of the tanks here in North Chennai also modified because the urbanization process. When that urbanization process comes, then there will be chance of some degradation to the particular water bodies. See that this is the satellite derived data sets and we simulated. See that year 1980, the cities, the red color city growth, 1980 small, then 1990 little bit scattered, then 2000 more, and 2010 most of the areas are covered with the urbanization. When the urbanization taken places, then the lakes are lavishly modified. You know that this is the Pallikarnai Marsh during 1979. Fresh water, Pallikarnai. Now what happened? Due to the dumping of municipal waste, construction, utility, road, and railway network, the total freshwater wetland system is converted into dump yard. Nowadays, there is no such water conserved in the particular wetland, so that the adjoining areas are under stress to the groundwater and surface water. This is another one. See the Valacheri Lake. During 1979, the Valacheri is a very big tank, and it is supporting the agricultural land. He see that these are the agricultural land. This tank is having more water permanently throughout the year. After this, 2016, see that half of the tank is valued by our urbanization process. Most of the land, nearly 80% of the lake is converted into urban area. Remaining, the water is there, that too with the more polluted water in the lake itself. Here, see that this is the command area where the agriculture practices experienced in those days. Those areas are now it is lavishly converted into urbanization process. So in future, after 5 years, this water body also going to be extinct because the urbanization is swallowing the water body. This kind of process only we can able to see during the rainy period. When the rain comes, these areas are getting flooded. Then the people will be raising their hand. My area is flooded. Why? They are constructed the houses in the lake itself. See, this also a simulated map of Chennai City, how the Chennai City is growing from one particular time period to the 1997 to the 2016 likewise. It shows that most of the water bodies are, when the water bodies are modified for the human, for the urbanization process, there is no chance of storing the water below the ground. There is a big reservoir. There is aquifer. Those aquifers are getting dried up every year. No water below the ground. So what happened? There is no chance for getting the water for the urban community. So that we are transporting the water nearby the agriculture areas like Chengalpattu, Tambram, and those areas. So what the farmers are doing, instead of cultivation, they are selling the water to the urban. So the agriculture practice is totally abandoned. So all the wells are supplying the water to the solve the demand of Chennai city. So agriculture is reducing day by day, though it leads to the food security. In future, the agriculture production is very less means the cost of the agriculture producers will be more in the market. Why that water is to be managed? The water, when the water is bringing more sediment and put it in the lake will be filled. If it is more sedimented during the rain, the lake won't be stored more water for the future, so that the flood will be frequently. And the lake and reservoir are also losing its carrying capacity. Suppose that it can be carrying 1 liter, one lakh thousands of liter means it is not able to store because it is filled with more on sludge or maybe sediment, so it is unable to uh, hold the water during the rainy period itself. So that the desiltation process to be taken every year. Improper planning means that adjacent areas are not planned well because you know that everybody is doing their own activity without getting any approval from the authorities, so that the improper planning also leads to the water scarcity. Seasonal floods due to the less in the carrying capacity of the water storage. Water level changes due to the improper planning. The water level below the ground, the water table is changing rapidly by the over exploitation by the human being. Eutrophication, the water which is stored here in the waste dumped places, these things are called as invasive plants are growing more and more in the freshwater areas. This also called as eutrophication. Toxic contamination by discharging of industrial waste, discharging of letting that thing of into the freshwater bodies, and our human waste, everything is enter into the lake, and that will be that toxic contamination are taking place in the water bodies. Due to that chemical contamination, then BOD and COD, biological oxygen demand and chemical oxygen demand also in the particular water bodies itself. So the biological oxygen demand and chemical oxygen demand are very, very giving very stress to the pure water itself. And scarcity due to the modification of the land parcels into urban and urbanization process, non-agricultural uses, there will be chance of groundwater depletion. That groundwater depletion won't meet out the requirement made by the agriculture, domestic and industry. So there is water scarcity. One side water scarcity, another side water pollution. See that you maybe notice that whoever travel in south from Chennai, there is a Chengalpet. Before Chengalpet, there is a big lake, Kolavai Lake. We made a study through remote sensing data how the lake is getting polluted by our own anthropogenic activities. Very fresh lake. Those days, the surrounding areas are properly maintained by the human and the administration. After that, it is mismanaged so that the lake is nowadays the lake water is not used for any purposes. See that earlier days, fishing, agriculture, boating, and tourism, everything is promoted in those days. Nowadays, this is the earlier days, below the lake, the very good agriculture activities, plenty of water, and they cultivated wet cropping in the command area of the lake. Now, what happened? See, those lands are converted into plots, non-agriculture uses, and those non-agriculture uses, wastewater is let it into the water body, and the water body is so much of eutrophications. See that these are the industries letting out the industrial waste. This is the residential waste, and so that the lake water is getting polluted every day. And these are the practices going on. Conversion of agricultural land, conversion of agriculture into non-agriculture uses. There is road, சென்னைக்கு மிக அருகில், பாகிஸ்தானுக்கு மிக அருகில் அப்படின்னு போட்டு எல்லா இடத்தையும் சாகடிச்சிட்டாங்க. So there is no agriculture practices experience in the particular area. So there will be a big demand in agriculture produces. See that this is the adjacent hill nearby the lake. See, these are the source region. Those source regions are occupied by the industries and settlements. They are letting that waste into the lake itself. So that the lake water is so polluted. See that things are getting polluted. Using the remote sensing data, because the remote sensing data always give real information, not malpracticed by somebody else. நீங்கள் போயிட்டு வெளியில் அங்கே போய் கேட்டீங்கன்னா என்னப்பா இது ஏதாவது பிரச்சனை இருக்கான்னா ஒருத்தனை ஒன்றும் சொல்ல முடியல, நல்லா தானே இருக்குது அப்படிமா. ஏன்னா அவன் யார்கிட்ட காசை வாங்கிட்டு உடனே போய் சொல்லிடுவான். பட் ரிமோட் சென்சிங் டேட்டா won't tell any lies. It will be giving a repetitive, real-time, revisited data to the researchers to do the research for a particular novel project. See that this is a lake, what I shown that lake. Earlier days, this is 2000. This pink color is wasteland. The yellow is nothing but your cultivated land, and the green is nothing but forest like waste. This is the land use category. See, there is no such built-up areas, human interaction in the particular area because it's the source region. Only that urbanization and built-up areas are below the lake itself, so that the lake water is very, very good in those days. Then during 2010, some of the buildings, the red color are nothing but a building and industries. These building and industries are constructed in the source region. So that I already told you the improper planning of the land use practices. So here what happened, though the buildings and industries are constructed in the source region where the lake is getting water. See, these are the streams. These are small lakes contributing water to the big lake. What happened when that construction increases day by day? This is 2020. See that this much of area is converted into the industries and urbanization. Once industries comes, the quarters and the nearby areas are slowly converted into non-agricultural uses. So what happened? when the source region is filled with the urban activities or human activities or the industrial activities, the water used by them are discharged as a waste into the lake. When the rain comes, or maybe then they are lavishly allowing the wastewater into the lake. During the rain, whatever the waste dumped in here and there, that will be taken by the fluvial system and deposited in the lake itself, so that the lake is so polluted, the lake water is not used by them. Once upon a time, the lake water is used by the urban community in Chennai City itself. Nowadays, this local people also not use this particular water for domestic agriculture as well as the recreational purposes. Why? The mismanagement of the land parcels by us. That leads to this kind of mismanagement of land parcels, mismanagement of the land use practices leads to the anthropogenic degradations, that is a water pollution. The water pollutions are different. See that non-point source pollution, point source pollution. These are the point source pollution. These are the non-point source pollutions. And sometimes the point source pollutions are also happen in the sea, and the sea also getting polluted. Sea bottom floor also getting polluted by our waste things. So the plastics and other things, rubber, plastic, and unwanted, sometimes radioactive materials are also they deposit in the sea. That will be consumed by the sea livings, and that also a problem nowadays. So these are the process, point source and non-point source pollution. So the water is getting wasted in the on the surface as well as the sea. See that there are plastic items what we thrown on the land or maybe a sea that is floated on the water. Sometimes that will be occupying the bottom portion of the sea floor, that also giving some adverse effect to the sea livings. The pollution of water can be divided into three. One is surface water pollution, another one is groundwater pollution. That is called as a wastewater, can be classified into three categories. One is surface water pollution, another is groundwater pollution, third one is marine pollution. Fine. See the diagram. These are the land use practices above the ground. Industries, settlements. See that natural river is coming. This is the pastoral land where you have the cultivated lands. Here you have the gardens. Now what happened? When the rain comes, the water will be fallen on the ground and it can be infiltrated and form a aquifer system, either shallow aquifer or deeper aquifer. This is the aquifer, this is the deeper aquifer. If so, what happened? The system will be perfectly working. Rain, infiltration, surface water flow, and again evaporation, the cycle will be. But what happened now, due to the lavish change of the change in the land use practices, the wastewater let it into the ground as well as into the running water, or maybe the industries letting it into the pits. That pit will be again seepages and it will be enter into the groundwater in the shallow or deeper, or otherwise sometime it will be nearby the river, means they will be enter into the river. So the surface water and groundwater getting polluted by the different polluting agencies, so that we lost our own surface water in the river Kaveri, river Palar, Amaravati, Noyal, or the perennial rivers in South India, feeding the water for us in various sectoral usages. That means domestic, more on agriculture and industries. What the industries people are doing, they will be constructed so many industries along the river courses, either processing, manufacturing, likewise, so that they are lavishly using the water, waste water, they will be let it into the river system itself, so that our Amaravati, Noyal are the two rivers of the tributary of Kaveri getting polluted by the dyeing industries. River Palar is polluted by the tanning industries. So now slowly by the industrialization, urbanization, globalization processes, We got more work from other countries and we are wasting our own resources, water resources, land resources also. So that the river, our river Kaveri also getting polluted by the industries. So surface water also getting polluted, groundwater also getting polluted. That polluted water carrying more on arsenic and lead content. That arsenic and lead content are the chemical component. When a human consumes, he will be having a multiple neuron disorder and fertility, infertility. Not only human, our cattle also getting infertility. So that one way we are losing our own health and well-being due to the pollution itself. See that how come that non-point source pollution bringing some amount of chemical thing we can see. See that the zinc, the waste from the roof and something here, maybe in the industries, or maybe some weathering process in the buildings, it will be bringing more on zinc and copper from the cleaning of vehicles or maybe some other anthropogenic work which is in the house will bringing more copper and put it in the groundwater, surface water itself. Organic waste from the surface, either in the garbages, animal droppings, and dead leaves, bringing more on organic waste. Nitrogen waste, when that unwanted things are put it in the stormwater drain is carrying the pollutant and giving more problem to the groundwater itself. Either in the surface water or in the groundwater, it will be getting polluted. The marine pollution, you maybe notice that marine pollution, see that more on plastic items used by us on on the land and sometime in the sea. Net, damaged nets and letting out of the diesel waste crude oils on the sea and sometimes cleaning of vessels bringing more on problems. See that there is a waste, in that waste that sea livings are caught. Here, the point source pollution enter into the sea itself. Whatever the industrial waste or sewage waste or maybe your other kind of waste, let it into the sea. They are not aware about this. They are not aware about the resources in the marine. So they will be discharging liters of water drained into the sea also getting polluted. Seashore also getting polluted. Most of the sea livings are affected by this particular process itself. And see that the wastages from the residents or industry bringing more on invasive things nearby the coastal areas. This means eutrophications nearby the coastal areas. This also bringing so much of ill health to the human being itself. See that letting out the waste crude oils or when the vessels are serviced up, the waste oils are discharged in the sea itself. Sometimes collision of ships also bringing this oil leak on the sea floor. If it is so, the sea livings also affected. See that the bird, flamingo, also affected by this. Not only flamingo, the fish, tortoise, everything. When it is in the oil leak, it will be affecting and it will loss of life because of our own anthropogenic activity. We doesn't have any value on the water. Okay, so this the 79% of the ocean when it is polluted, then there is no escape. You have to face some critical thing in the life because land resources already we looted. Now we are moving towards a sea for food, seafood, and sometime now we are having so much of plants which is growing. The sea is supporting nutrient to us. Now every scientist moving towards the ocean resources and they are giving the supplement to our livings. so that when it is also polluted, there is no chance for getting something from the ocean, something from the marine and the land itself. Finally, there will be a resource scarcity. Due to the resource scarcity, there will be chance of some conflict between the groups. Then there will be a everyone என்ன பண்றது, ஒருத்தனை ஒருத்தனை அடிச்சுட்டு நம்மளே சொந்தத்தில் சூனியை வச்சுட்டு செத்துருவோம். So that don't expect that particular situation. Please take some awareness about this pollution and water usages. Do something. Maybe you may be having different disciplines. You are studying different discipline, but you have to take this additional care to conserve the natural resources, either water or maybe your land, because that is a very, very important thing for our comfortable life, human comfortable life. So that this is to be taken care as a maybe a skill based, or maybe your non-major elective, whatever it may be. You can take as a special attention and work for that, learn more. Your college also taking care about the water management as well the eco restoration clubs. So you thank your administration giving extra extensional job to you. Think about the society and do something for the society. Now, when the water is polluted, what we can do? You have to treat the water, because industrialization also needed, your globalization also needed, your urbanization to be needed for developing the country towards the developed country. Now we are developing. We have to move on the next stage as developed country. So that those activities to be needed, primary, secondary, tertiary activities to be needed. That for the three type of activities we need of water as a prime, as a base. Water and land are the base. Anyhow, we have to support the activities by supplying the water. When the industries or urbanization wasting, then the water, that water to be treated and to be let it into the zero pollutant. How? Reverse osmosis system and some of the treatment plants. What they will do? First, they will be allowing the water, polluted water, into the sediment filter. What the sediment will filter will do? It will be filtering the impurities. Impurity means that water will be blended with sediments and impurities will be more on it. That will be filtered in the first stage, that is a sedimentation tank. The sedimentation tank will be filtered out the water with the unwanted things. Then you have to lift it out and you have to segregate the unwanted things. And again, the water will be allowed to the tank, aeration tank. Aeration tank means there is an aerator. That what the aerator will do, the aerator will be removing the odor smell. There will be a odor smell, no? That smell to be removed from this water. That is aeration. During the aeration, the water smell will be cut off, and sometimes the sand filter also can be filtered. And when we allow some hours a day, the unwanted heavy sediments can be deposited below the tank, or after the aeration, then there will be a chance of some deposit in the particular tank as a sludge. That the sludge, then the water will be above the sludge. That water to be sent to the next level of treatment, that is a chlorinator. That means chlorine to be added into the water, then the fungal and other things to be removed, and finally it will be let it into the river and ocean as a untreated water. Then only the surface water, groundwater can be pure, not a polluted one. If it is so, whatever the water we used, we treat it and we can make it a reuse, or maybe let it into the river system itself. This is the thing we need to have. So that there is a 3R principle. 3R means reduce, recycle, reuse are the three principle can be called as a 3R principle. Reduce the water. That means suppose I am using 10 liter of water. One day I can save 1 liter of water. 9 liter of water will be used. 8 liter of water. Likewise, we have to reduce our own day-to-day usage as water based on the water requirement. Reduce, recycle when the water is used by us, and when we are converting the fresh water into the waste gray water, the gray water to be treated by us by reverse osmosis system or bioremediation measures, and that the water to be treated, the treated water to be reused for the various purposes, garden maintenance, or to be a dishwash, or to be fresh out, the water can be used, so that the natural cyclic process of water to be on the surface without any hesitation. Otherwise, there will be a big war before us. There is a water war, and one drop of water will be valued like a gold. So that the young brain has to have how the nature is giving the water to us every minute, every stage. That water is fresh. If it is so, then our well-being will be. Otherwise, when you are not treating the water, not valuing the water will be wasted. Finally, instead of fresh rain, then acid rain can occur on our own surface. If it is so, nobody can live. This world will be no man island. So, through this webinar, the talk, I ask you people, please take some message about the importance of the water, value of the water, and how to conserve the water. So, as a youngsters who are all there, I know very well about the GSS people, GSS family. Through that NSS activities, I was the coordinator for about 12 years. I'm very close to the GSS college. Everybody, every student is working hard, and they're doing the community services in the city as well as the outside. I know very well. And also all our girl students, they are perfectly working and doing some community services. So take care about the future demand of water, and disseminate this understandings through this webinar to the community stakeholder and other people about the valuing the water, not to waste the water. If you are wasted in future, a drop of water will be like a gold. Nobody can get the water for our daily usage purpose. Only H2O capsule can be. H2O capsule will be sell it in the market instead of liquid water. You can get the solid water. For that also you need to have some drop of water to swallow the H2O. So likewise, this is a situation, so that my young brains to take care, conserve the water bodies, not to allow any encroachment, not to allow anybody else to let it the pollutant into the water bodies. If possible, do some work in the urban community to reduce, recycle, and reuse the water for their own livelihood, so that the fresh water can be conserved. During the rain, you have to activate the local administration, and you have to support the local administration and take some villages, adopted villages, do some water harvesting structures, percolation ponds, check dams. You can. The young brain can do the wonderful things. I know very well about the power of the youngsters, young brains, so that you go and conserve the water during the rain, the value rain to be stored, that stored things to be in the below the ground unpolluted. That will be a reservoir. Whenever the water requires, we can fetch it from the well or big groundwater. In Cuba, there is a big water scarcity. They observed what they did. The youngsters, the college students, they taken the message of the scarcity. Then they worked for about a year. All the students from language to the science and technology, they worked, and they found out that the Cuba is surrounded by the sea. The sea wind is blown to the land with more moisture. What they did, They they catch hold the sea breeze, and sea breezes consist of so moisture that moisture is to be converted into the water. There is liquid water. The sea wave, sea wind moisture to be tapped out by a device, and the device will be converting the vaporized moisture into water. That water will be supported to the community. Instead of fetching the water from the water sources, they are fetching the water from the air that is blown from the sea. And now what they are doing now, the demand is met out by the scientists, the students. What now they are doing, that is lavishly or extensively the work is going on in the terrain. Then now what they are doing, they are collecting the moisture from the air, converting the moisture into water. That water is artificially inserted into the land, artificially inserted into the land by defunct wells, defunct bore wells. They are artificially inserted the moisture converted water into the deeper layers. Now, this year they announced that the water is surplus for them. 10 years before, the Cuba is more on water scarcity. Now they reduce the usages, and they converting their own land with the excess water availability by introducing some technology by the students through the technology. So I hope that every GSS queens will take the message and do well and practice yourself and solve the water issues in our own country. Thank you very much for the patient listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Srimati from 3rd BSc Computer Science to give the vote of thanks. Over to you, Srimati. Change it.
Good afternoon. On behalf of Guru Sri Shanti Vijay Jain College for Women, I, Srimati, from 3rd BSc Computer Science, take this privilege to deliver the vote of thanks. I thank our respected Principal Ma'am Dr. M.K. Malati for motivating and guiding us. I thank our Honorable Secretary and Correspondent Sir Dr. P. Wade Dr. Gautam P. Wade for his support and guidance. I thank today's guest speaker, Dr. G. Bhaskaran sir, for joining us and making us understand the value of water and how to manage water resource. It was very informative session. Thank you, sir. I thank the faculty in charge of water management program, sir, Dr. P. Carmuhil ma'am, and Enviro Club Cell faculty in charge, Dr. Gajalakshmi ma'am, to give us the opportunity to conduct this event. My special thanks to all the viewers who joined this webinar. Once again, I thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Now, I request, thank you, sir. Now, I request everyone to stand up for national anthem. पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जय गणमंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय जय जय
Thank you, sir, and thank you everyone for joining.